All right. So we're going to start off. Oh, okay. Can I steal the mouse off that computer?
Yeah.
Please. It's going to make my life so much easier. Touch padding, Unity or Unreal is just not my, nothing that brings me any joy or fun. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our, we're going to start off by building the pause menu. So we're going to go to our content folder, to our blueprints with the capital P just for Jordan. And we are going to right click like we've done before. But this time we're going to, in our bottom section here, user interface, that is correct. And then we're going to select the widget blueprint. And then it's going to bring up this pick a parent class for the new widget blueprint. We're just going to use our widget. That's perfectly great. And then we're going to name this one WBP, so for widget blueprint underscore menu. All right. And with that, then we can go ahead and double click on it to open it up. Start. All right, so in our widget blueprint, we have, like we've had before, instead of components, this is giving us a palette. We have lots of different common uses that would fall into widgets. Widgets for Unreal, for the most part, think of them as anything that's going to overlay your environment. It can be used, I'm sure, for some other things, but that's the primary uses that I've done with it. We will eventually be building our actual UI in the next week or two. That's going to overlay the gameplay at all times. And so then we also have in here a hierarchy, which starts out with the WP underscore menu. Very similar to now, obviously, Unity from that regard. We want to, in this case, come up here and type in canvas or can, because that's about how far you need to go, which gives us our canvas panel. And then we can just drag that down to our hierarchy and add it to the menu, which is going to put this, when you hover over it, blue outlined box, otherwise it's dotted lines. With the canvas panel selected in the hierarchy, we want to, we're going anchors. Like 5 minutes later, and I can't, details panel. Details panel, anchors. Wow, we're of course. Let's find this. Interesting. We're just going to leave it like this then at the moment because I'm not sure why it's not giving me my anchors. Don't need it. It's a-okay. It's driving me nuts, but that's okay.
Doesn't show up in search. Can't you
Yeah.
set anchors of the canvas panel, or you set anchors of what's inside of it?
Sure, but you should be able to set it for the overall panel, which on my home computer, I have not upgraded to 5.2, so maybe that's the issue. We're just going to go with that because obviously it is not popping up.
It's on 5.5.1 and it's the same.
Still the same thing?
Yeah.
Perfect. Wonderful. Oh, maybe it's because we need one more. Let's do this. I might be not reading my instructions right. It's fine. Up in this top section in our palette, we do want to go ahead. We're going to add a button.
Whoa.
Craziness.
Buttons in my video game.
No buttons allowed. There's our flower. Okay. Got to drag the button in. So with this, we have this big flower up here in the corner. As you can see, that's where it puts the button attached to that. So what we can actually end up doing is now in our details, we have anchors. With the anchors, now we can put it in the center, which moves the flower to the center. And now we can technically center it, which is not 100% true. If we go to 0, 0, it's great, but it's still just putting the upper corner of it in there. So if we want to move it so everything's centered, we'll have to just move it a little bit with our positioning. Want to make this an easy-ish menu to access. So we're going to change the size here to 240. So to center this, we can go up to our position X and do a -100 and I think a -20. Should pop that now into the center. You should have position X and position Y with the button selected under anchors in that top details.
Yeah, it's selected, but I've seen I mean, I can move it, but it's not going to be just by clicking on it. But
Let me see.
So I'm sure the extras related to losing our center. Oh, that. Yeah. Okay.
So then using the position X and Y, 0, 0, and then you just dial it in.
Okay, I remember where we put it. I didn't realize I just have to set the one.
No worries. All right. Then what we're going to do, we're just going to make a total of 3 buttons. We want a play button. We're going to do a play button, a try again button, and a quit button. So we can just duplicate, Control D to duplicate. And then we'll want to move them. We'll move the first one. Doesn't really matter. We'll rename them in a bit. We'll rename it so to -100, -100. We'll just put that one up above. And then for our second one, we'll do -160. So now we have 3 buttons, all nice and pretty in the middle of the screen. To make life simple, we can just move our buttons so that they represent their order. And now, obviously, blank buttons, they're great, woo! Like, well, which one does what? So we're just going to add some text to it.
Part of the game.
It is the game within the game. It's the meta game. If you click and drag the text down to on top of your buttons, it's going to add a text block. We can do that for each of them. So the text here can become, in our content, that's where the text is. So for the top one, it'll be play. The middle one will be try again. And the bottom one will be quit. So Unreal does kind of an interesting thing with the buttons and then the text on it. Um, it makes the text also clickable, which we don't want. We want just the button to be clickable. So we can select all of our text, and then we can scroll down to, where is it? We want behavior for each, visibility. So behavior visibility, we want the not hit, testable, self, and all children. So with this, it's going to make it so that literally we're just going to care about the button click rather than, I guess it could be a funny Easter egg if you had the text do something different than the button it was in front of, but that seems really mean. So we're not going to do that. And then just once again, to make life a little easier for us down the road, we're going to change our button names so we can switch. Instead of button _1, we'll do play button for the top one. Middle one, we will do, I'll just do, keep doing try again button. And the bottom one will be our quit button. This will just make it easy for us to reference as we go on. Okay, so what we want to do is actually start building our interactions at this point. So we are going to select our play button first, scroll down to the bottom where we have our events. As you can see here, we have on clicked, on pressed, on released, on hovered, and on unhovered. So you have some actions and opportunities with that. For this, we just care about the on clicked. So we can click the plus next to that, which is going to immediately take us to our event graph. And now you see we have the event on clicked with the play button. So in the designer, you're going to make sure that your play button's selected. Scroll down to the bottom of details and click on the plus next to on clicked for the event. Once you have the first on click for your play button, go back to your designer, select your try again button, scroll down, add your on clicked events, press rise back to the designer, quit button, on clicked. So now you should have all three of your click events in here. We'll just leave the other ones at the top at the moment. They're not going to do us any harm. We're going to set up the quit button first, which is obviously not in the order that they're going, but it's the easiest one to do. So we're going to start with that. Drag off of your on clicked for the quit button. And we're just going to type in quit and choose quit game. I mean, woof. Pretty brutal. Literally, that is the extent of that. We do need to give it a player. So what we can do is drag off from specific player and add get player controller so it knows which player. Since we're doing a single player game, player index is 0. That's just our main player, so that's what you just need to have. Which just now makes that super easy. The thing I actually like the most, or one of the things I like about Unreal over Unity, is the quit buttons actually work in your testing screen. You don't have to build. Like, so in Unity, you have to build to be able to do application quit. In here, it just then closes the testing window, which is really kind of cool. Okay, so perfect. So now what we're just going to do, because once again, we're going to go now from the super easiest one to the next easiest, which is going to be our try again button. So all we're going to be doing with this would have been great if we wanted to keep it where the player became trapped into that center area. They went through, they did it wrong, and now you trap them in the walls and they can't get out. This would allow that player to basically restart the level. So if you choose to make that modification in your final version of the game, that would be great, or would definitely work. So we want to now, off of the on-click try again button, we're going to drag off and we're going to do open level by name. We can leave this level name none, and it just then is referencing what the current level you're in is. If we wanted to open up and say, try again would take you back to the start menu or whatever, then we would actually want to put in what level that is. But in this case, we just want to restart this current level. We're going to drag off again, and we're going to set input mode game only to that. So we want to be having this as our input section. And once again, like we've done before, the player controller will drag off again, and we'll get our player controller. You could just drag off of the one you already have, but it's far away. It's up to you. There's lots of ways to do it. Your preference on that. Either is perfectly fine. And then we want to go ahead and drag off from here. In this case, we're going to actually uncheck before we start typing the context sensitive. So the executions that it brings up when you drag off are all like, hey, if you're dragging off of this, normally these are the ones that it's going to be connected to. But there are others in there. So we're going to turn this off, which allows us to search through everything. And we're going to look for set show mouse cursor. Without this, literally the mouse cursor is not there to be interacting with the menu, and that kind of doesn't do us a lot of good. Or it's actually, we want it to turn back off. We're going to turn it on in a minute. So in this case, we want to show mouse cursor. We're going to check that. And our target is also the player controller, so we can now just tie off of the one there. If you want it to look pretty, you can add a little node. So what we have in this spot is going to, we haven't added this technically there, but this is now set up for quitting the game and then restarting the game back to how it was at the beginning of that level. So we'll compile and save. All right, so before we do play button, we definitely want to make sure we have some other things in place. We could do it now, but then we're just going to have to go back and forth anyway, so we're going to skip this for the moment. So let's go back to our third-person map. And we're going to go into our content folder. We're going to scroll down to our third person, into the input folder, and into the actions folder. So what we basically have to do is we've got to set up how do we access the pause menu, right? Like it's not just going to magically happen. How are we going to actually make that happen? And so we're going to do it through an input. Um, very overly similar to Unity's quote unquote new input system. So we're just going to set up a new input. So if we right click in the folder here, we're going to select input and input action. And we'll name this one IA menu. And we're going to double click to open it. Mostly just details in here. All we're wanting to do in here for this one is we're going to set what the trigger is. What is it that's going to trigger our menu to open? So we're going to hit a plus next to the trigger. And for this, we're going to, where are we at? Hold on. We're looking for in our trigger. No, hold on. We're gonna go with pressed. So when we press something, that's gonna be our trigger. So select pressed. We're just gonna go ahead and save it. And now we can go back to our third person map.
Can you just leave that blank and then in the input mapping context there, set your triggers to be just press?
I'm gonna go with probably, but I'm not sure. So if we come back third person map, which is going to get us back to our content folder, we're going to go just up one level into inputs, and we want to double click on the already there IMC default, which is their input mapping context. So if we have this and you open up mappings, you can see the ones that are already there. So jump, move, and look. If we dive deeper into those, we can see that jump is attached to the space bar, the gamepad, and touch for a touchpad, which we can dive even deeper into these. So for this, we're going to click the plus next to mappings. We're going to, surprise, surprise, add in our IA menu. For this, since we're just doing keyboard mouse with this at the moment, we're going to just add a keyboard one. So you can click on just the keyboard and then press the key. I'm going to press tab. The reason for this, one, it's really easy to make this change later. But the escape button is kind of already used when we do our play testing in the game. So if we hit escape, that would technically open our map in a final build or our menu in a final build. It's just going to close it. So that doesn't really help us out at all. So we're just going to set it up as tab for the time being so that we can use it and experience it. And then when we build this for real to export it as a exe, then we'll come back and reset this to escape. So we're going to do that. Make sure to save it. And we can now actually close the default and the menu. All right. So now back to our third person map. Kind of all over the place for a little bit, trying to make sure everything is set up. So in our third person folder in the content, we've got our blueprints. We want to go ahead and open up our third person character blueprint. This is where we added in our left mouse button checking event to make sure that it's been pressed to then go ahead and shoot a projectile. And so we're going to, above the left mouse button press, we're going to right click on here and we're going to make a custom event. Or actually, let's do this first. We're going to do, if we start typing in IA underscore, it's going to pull up inputs. We want to choose the one under enhanced action events. So we'll do the IA menu. And then we want to go ahead and add in a custom event above it, and we'll call this menu call. You could put these together. The reason I'm keeping them separate is because there might be some other things you want to have happen before you actually call the menu. So we're just going to separate these two out. All right, so starting with the input action IA menu, we're going to drag off triggered. And we're just going to actually go straight to menu call. We're going to call that as a function. So for now, this is just going to go direct, but we have it set up for if we wanted other things to happen before it would actually trigger the menu. All right. Then from menu call, give ourselves a little bit more space. We're going to go ahead and drag off create widget. Not with the caps lock. Create, wow. Create widget under user interface. This currently says construct none. That's perfectly okay. Normally it usually will fill in. The reason it's construct none is we haven't yet told it what class it's dealing with, so we're perfectly good with it being this way. And we're going to take, before we deal, we can actually then set the class at this point to the WP underscore menu. So now as we have that, you can see it changes the name, create WP underscore menu widget. So that's going to start the process of putting it on the screen, overlaying it. We're going to drag off the return value of the creating the widget. And we want to click at the very top on promote to variable. So this is a nice way to just make a variable really quick. You can see now in our variables, we have it here. We're going to name that variable main menu, or main menu. That will be fine. Then we're going to drag off. So from these, sometimes you have multiple options on how you want to drag off. So if we drag off from the executive, we could choose add to viewport, which then has it saying, hey, what's the target of that? And so then we say, oh, the target is the main menu variable we just set, right? That's great. That works. It's not a problem. We could also skip that step and drag off of the variable node and add to viewport. And then it connects everything for us. So a bit of a shortcut, saves a little bit of time. It's not that much. The biggest thing that this helps with, in my opinion, is auto connecting those nodes together in the right way, rather than like, oh yeah, shoot, I forgot to connect that node up. Why is it not working? That's why it's not working, right? All right, so we've got adding to the viewport. We can compile and save. We should hopefully not have any errors. Okay, so if we come back to our game and we hit play, and then we hit tab, we have a menu. Yay! Shit, can't do anything about it. It's there though. We also don't have a way for the menu to go away. So we're going to fix those things. Escape is your friend at the moment. So if we go back to our third person character blueprint, we're going to want to, after add to viewport, we're going to drag off set input mode. That's not how you type. Set input mode to game and UI. We're going to once again connect the player controller to get player controller. And then we want to, over in our variables, we're going to drag off the main menu and get a get of the main menu variable and attach that to widget in focus. So that connects that there. And then we're going to drag off again. Once again, we're going to turn off the content sensitive so that we can set show mouse cursor and set that to true. So what this is doing is saying, hey, cool, we're playing a game. That's neat. Yay. But we want to give access to the cursor again.
How'd you get the set show mouse cursor?
So you have to set, turn off your context sensitive.
Yeah.
Uncheck, and then it's get show mouse. And that'll, nice. And you've got this unchecked?
Yeah. And then type in
Get, or sorry, set show.
Oh.
Set show.
Oh.
That's true. And our target, once again, is our player controller. I'm going to be lazy and just drag it over from there. Nothing like having cables go behind nodes. We could be, you know, if you wanted to make it there, you could have some funky, make it clear where and how it goes. But we have options. All right. So with this, we can compile and save. And now, if we go back to our map and hit play, and then we hit tab, now you've got a mouse again. Yay! It's amazing. But you can still be moving around, which I don't know if that's really how we want to run this. Some games I've seen do this. Drives me up a wall because I'm trying to focus on what the menu is, not the other shit that's happening around me. But if we do hit quit, it quits. That's amazing. Reset should also work at this point. Try again. It comes back to the start. So we've got those two set up and ready. Escape to get out of there. All right. But we also, so we're going to first set up that tab can both open and close our menu system. So we want to be able to do tab to go back and forth rather than having to have a button there that just is like, yeah, I want to go back to playing. It's fine. So if we go back to our third person character and to the start of menu call, we're going to go ahead and give ourselves some space so we can move this back a bit. And we're going to go ahead and drag onto here get of the main menu variable. Then we'll drag off of that. And we want to oh, it's on. Hold on. Sorry, we want to actually, instead of dragging off, we just want to right click on the variable, which gets us to the ability to convert to validated get. So when we do that, we're able to validate whether it's basically a branch, right? We have the ability to say, put this through. Is this variable validated? Is it actually what it should be, what we're expecting? Is validated. Yep, cool, we're good. Is not validated. Great, this isn't what we want, so now we do that branch. So we're going to go from here and we'll do the is not validated. So is not validated. We're going to connect this to our create the widget. So we can connect this to our menu call, add it in the middle. So if this is not true, we're going to make a menu, right? So if the menu, basically it's saying, does the menu exist? Yes or no. If it does not exist, not valid, make it. So then we're going to, let's see, that's so there. So now we can drag off is valid. We want to remove from parent is what we'll drag off, which is under widget. We'll just use our main menu here to give it the target. So we're saying this is the main menu we want you to remove. So if it's already there, great, now turn it off. Menu. Then what we'll do is we can duplicate the set version here that gives us what we want. Set main menu. Oh, hold on a second. We'll get to that in a minute. Getting ahead of myself. Set this. Give me just a second. That. Duplicate the set menu. And connect to remove. All right, let's connect that set one back up. Let's see if this is actually. Don't write yourself notes on how to do this at, way too late at night. Your notes become crazy. There we go. Yep. So stop this. So from the remove from parent, go ahead and once again, we can duplicate the set from here. What we want to make sure is that the main menu here is not selecting an asset, because this is what is then giving it the data that then sets it to invalid, right? We're setting this is the main menu to something that is not truly the main menu. So that creates an invalid get, which then allows us to turn it on and off as we go. So with that compiled and saved, like showed, once we come in and play, now we can hit tab to go back and forth between the game and the menu. All right. We will go back. We'll finish this off. So off the set, we are going to add to that our input game mode only. Set input game mode only. We're going to connect this to our player controller like we've done before. Get player controller. And then we can actually save ourselves some time. We can duplicate our set here, which is a set show mouse cursor. Connect it through, attach our target to our controller, and then turn off our show mouse cursor. Because right, we've gone back to our game. We don't care about our mouse cursor anymore. All right, if everything goes according to plan, which I do not promise at the moment, we'll save. We should be able to come into the game. We have no cursor here. We hit tab. Look, you've got a cursor. It's amazing. I hit tab again, and now I don't have a cursor again. I can keep going on and doing and playing my game as I want. All right. We can escape back out of that. I personally, if you didn't catch from earlier, don't like it when the game continues to play when the menu is open. Some people do like it. That's obviously choice.
I think it depends if it's multiplayer or single player.
Sure, we're just playing single player.
So then, yeah, pause it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they should make it stop the game when you pause it multiplayer. Because, like, if your mom says, like, hey, you need to go do the dishes, totally love that. Hey, your mom said you need to go do the dishes.
And then it just pauses for everyone.
Yeah, so that's
And then you just don't come back for like 2 hours and everyone's just waiting for you to come back. That's not problematic at all. So we're going to at least set it so that it does pause the game while we're doing it. So if we go back into our third player controller because we like it.
Deadlock has a feature kind of like that, but it only lasts 30 seconds. It's so funny.
That's horrifying.
People pause for the dumbest.
Is there a limit to the number of pauses you can do then? You get one.
Everyone gets one.
Okay, I was just like, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Like, no. All right. So if we drag off from the is not valid, right? This is what's turning on our widget. That's what we want. So if we drag off the set here, we can set game paused. We want the set game paused. And then we want to set pause to true. So check the paused one. Here comes the difficult parts. We're going to duplicate that one. Drag it now up to our where we're turning everything off. And surprise, surprise, pause is unchecked. It's crazy. So now when we've got it, when we set and turn on our widget, which is our menu, it's going to pause. It's going to give us our cursor and go ahead and remove it or pause the gameplay. When we close the menu, we're going to turn off the cursor and unpause the gameplay. All right. So let's just make sure that's working. Compile, save. Play. Now if I jump and hit pause, yeah. I don't know. Is this like is this a Neo moment? I don't know.
This situation.
Right. So, and then obviously we can tab. What's going on here?
I think it blocks the inputs when you do pause it. Or is it the reason in our how could you do this
It was really easy, obviously.
You have to have like a UI button to unpause, you know? Try again and it'll start working.
Right. It didn't need that when I was doing it. So let me just double check. Set show mouse cursor. Pause it.
There should be a trigger when pause check mark on the input action.
It's inside the menu action.
Yeah.
In which one?
If you go to like the IA menu asset, they should
Oh,
trigger when pause check mark. So
that's right. Thank you. Thank you. So if we
not just
as soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing. So we go back to our actions. We need to go back into our IA menu action. And there's a checkbox, which is under the action trigger when paused. We need to make sure that is checked. Otherwise, it's going to be like, we're paused. I ain't doing shit. I'm on vacation. I don't need to work. I'm good. So if we add that, save it. Now if we go back in and play, now we can hit our pause. Tab back and forth on our pause. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, cool. So we have the ability to tab in and out of a gameplay menu or an in-game menu. We have the ability to then, from that menu, go back and just quit the game, go back and restart the level. Now we want to go ahead and finish off the play version of it. So we go back to the WP menu where we have the on-clicked play button. This is the reason why we did all that other stuff first, because what we're going to end up doing is nothing super crazy, but it's nice to have everything else in place. Drag off the play button. We're going to do a cast to BP third person character. We are going to, from the object, we're going to get player, not controller, but we want the player character. Same index, just getting a different piece. So we want that player character from it. And then we're going to drag off from, we'll do it dragging off to save what we have to connect. So as BP third person character, we're going to drag off and type in menu call, which gives us our event that is currently on our BP third person character. I'm just going to compile save. So it's going to end up calling the menu here. Obviously, we couldn't have done this if this wasn't here. So from here with compile and saving, now if we hit play, we hit tab, we can now also hit the play button again to restart the game. It's amazing. But what we actually do want to add to that is in our menu. Yes, we're calling the menu call, but we can duplicate our set show mouse cursor. Add this afterwards. Turn it off. Target is our player controller. Get player controller. Now if we compile, oh, fine. Just duplicate this one. If you want to be mean, we'll just duplicate it. Now when we go back, it should also remove our player and then removes the cursor again. All right, any questions up to this point? Okay.
If you want to blur the background of the game while you're paused, you can, like, in the widget, there's like this blur background component. You can just drop into it that makes the screen blurry when you, or makes a section of the screen blurry when you put it in.
On the in the actual designer.
Yeah, it's a widget component that is just like if you just type in like blur, there's a blur background blur. You just basically make that the size of the whole screen, and then you just increase the blur intensity, and then it just
nice.
It makes it blurry.
So if you'd like a blurred background while it's paused, that is a nice, easy special effect to add to it. Thank you, sir. Okay. So we've got now ability to access the menu. Now let's actually build a start menu, right? So this is in our in-game menu that we've got here, right? So this is only going to happen when we're in actual play mode. We want to actually create a menu at the very start of the game that actually allows us to start the game. So we're going to first create, we'll go back to our third person map and go to actually maps. You'll see in maps we have our third person map. So obviously that is our quote first level. What we're going to want to do is come up to File, and we want to save current level as. Then we're going to drill down and throw it into the third person maps where there already is one. And we're going to call this one the third person start map. Hit save. And there we can see it now into our maps folder. And what we want to do is we can just make sure it's going to, well, let's save all, make sure everything's saved. And then we're going to double click to open our start map, which looks exactly like our last map. It's amazing. Crazy shit. Um, so what we're going to do with this, though, is we're going to open up and work on the level blueprint. So every level has its own blueprint that's running in, so you can actually attach things directly to the level. And to access that, we can come up here, click on this middle one next to, which is the world blueprints. So we can then open level blueprints. Looks just like every other blueprint that we've seen so far. But from this one, we want to start off by adding a begin play. So event begin play. Event begin play, like you would expect, happens at the beginning of playing the level. Amazing, right?
So it's like start.
It's like start. Hashtag spoiler alerts. And so this is going to allow us to add the start menu. So the start menu is just automatically there when you load the game. And so we're going to drag off from event begin play. And we're going to do create widget. And once again, we're going to leave this one actually for a few minutes as construct none. We'll come back to this in just a minute. We want to prep though, we're going to drag off return value. And we're going to promote this again to a variable. And we'll name this variable, let's go with, start screen. Why not? So now we have our set with the start screen. We'll drag off of its value. Like we've done previously, we're going to add to viewport, which now connects immediately the target. Okay, we're going to pause building this for a minute. Hitting compile is just going to give us an error, so we're not going to worry about that at the moment. We're going to go back to, now it's our start map. We're going to go back to our content folder. We're going to go into our blueprints one where we had the WP or WBP underscore menu. We're going to actually duplicate that, save ourselves a whole bunch of time. But we're going to change the name to WBP start menu. And we're going to then come back to our world map, the third person start map. And now we can actually come into the class and select the start menu from it. Now, if we compile it, it will actually compile. So then we can save. And now we can go back and play with that start menu. So double click on the start menu, the WPBP start menu. We don't need try again because that just restarts the level. So I don't really know if we need to restart the start menu. That could actually be kind of a humorous Easter egg to hide somewhere. If you restart the start level enough times, something changes. So we're going to go ahead and click on the try again button and then hit delete and say bye-bye, thank you for playing. And then we'll just go ahead and on the play button, we're going to drop its Y position. Instead of negative 100, we'll raise it up to negative 20. So it just moves them closer together. And then we're going to go to our graph. Amazingly, it's not throwing any errors. That's okay though. We're going to drag and select everything that's currently on the play button and delete it because we don't need that code there. But what we'll end up doing is then highlighting everything on the try again button because we're going to reuse this. And we're just going to move it up next to the play button. We can then, holding Alt, click on the connection and it'll delete it. And so now we can actually connect it to play button. And we can then just go ahead and delete the on click try again because we don't have that anymore. All right. Now, right, so this was originally just set up to restart a level, which is great by leaving the level name blank or with none. That's not what we want to do in this one. So we actually want to fill in the name of our map. I never trust my typing when it's literally asking to make sure something is exactly right. So if you go back to your third person map, you can enter your maps folder, slowly click onto your original map, which is your third person map, copy the text and come back in and paste that into the level name. If you are daring, you can just type in third person map. But I like to copy and paste. All right, now we can compile save. We actually, on this, we can think we can remove the show mouse cursor on that one. We'll find out in a second. So compile, save. We come to our third person start map. And if we hit play, hey, look, we've got a menu. Actually, we did need that apparently. All good. But so we have play and quit here. But it looks the same damn thing as before. I'm going to turn the set back off. All right. So, I mean, what's the difference between the two other than we've got just a different menu, right? And if we hit play, then we go to the same damn place. Nothing fancy or exciting there. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a camera to this. So if we come up to our add to the project, we can add a, we'll just type in camera, save time. We want under all, we want camera actor. And that's going to bring a camera into the environment. We want to, with camera actor selected in the outliner, which it should be, we want to set this to actually active. So we want to, where is it under? Auto player activation. Under all, scroll down to auto player activation. Then we've got auto activate player. We want to, instead of disabled, we want to set that to player 0. That's going to make it the main camera now in the game, which is what we want. If we left it here, I mean, there's no real difference. It just slides it over a little bit, and we don't see our player in there, which is what we kind of want, but still can be better. So if we then, with the camera actor, we can go ahead and set its location to 2300, 3000, and 1500. And then our rotations to 0, -30, and we'll set the last one to 60. So that's kind of better, right? So now if we hit play, we can kind of see the house, the map. And so then when we hit play, it's a very clear distinction and change, which is great.
What were those axes again?
So 2300, 3000, 1500, and then 0, -30, 60. But I mean, still, it's pretty static. You know, this is a game engine. We can do cooler shit than just that. So if we go back to our third person starter map where we have the world map for it on the event begin play, above begin play, we can right click and we want to event tick. So event tick is our basically timer that's going through, right? So that every tick things can happen based on this. We're going to drag off of that, and we want to get actor of class. Make sure it's just the single get actor. We don't want multiple. We'll set the actor class to camera actor. Camera actor, right? That's what we just added. That's what we want to be calling with this. Off of return value, we're going to we want start. Yeah, drag off that one. Actor class to that. Return value set to variable. So promote this to variable. We're going to do start camera as our variable. Then we'll do this above here. We're going to right click and we want get actor rotation. We're going to make sure that this ends up being correct. And we're going to delete the camera from that and just make sure that the start camera is the correct one. We'll drag off our return value. We want to break the rotator. This is only okay to break your rotator in Unreal. Please don't break your rotator cuff or anything like that in real life. So we've got our break rotator, which is got the roll, pitch, and yaw. We're going to drag off the roll X or roll and do a make rotator. We're going to break it and then we're going to make it again because why not? That's right. We're then going to also connect the pitch to the pitch. But what we're going to do, instead of dragging yaw to yaw, we're going to actually drag off. We're going to press the plus key. And that's going to give us the add operator. And then we're going to take the new results. That's going to come into the plus. It's going to add something to it. And then we're going to spit that out to the yaw. Let's, for giggles, start it at 1. Starts. Set actor rotation. So back here, we're going to come off of the set. So we had our get actor of class, then we did our original set where we then just kind of followed a line through kind of the variables. So now we actually want to come back to the executive. And now we're going to set actor rotation. Bring this forward. We want to, from the make rotator, the return value is going to go to the new rotation. And we will just make it easy. We'll drag off our start camera. We'll get the get of the start camera and attach it to the target. So now if we compile and save, we go to our third person start map and hit play. How long till someone gets nauseous?
Yeah, maybe slow it down.
So, right, so that's 1, but that's literally going 1 degree every frame, which is a bit much. So if we turn that down to, let's say, I don't know, we could do 0.1. Compile, save. Much better. Right, so now we have play and quit. Quit is once again going to quit. It makes it nice and easy. Play is going to actually now take us to the game. All right, any questions? Yes.
Going to the player who just did see.
Let me check real quick.
Sure. So then,
And then it's
so select your camera that you put in. Go down, I'll change that to player.
Perfect. All right. We're going to push through for one more thing, and then we'll give you all a break. We can do it. It's not going to be that much. It's only like 10 pages. It's fine. Just kidding. Okay. So we now have, if we started our third person start map, right, we can play. We can now choose to play the game. We can come into our game, play it all. Eventually, once we play it, we'll just kind of shortcut over here. Right, at some point you're going to finish it, and this section here is going to move forward, allowing you actual access to the house, right? The next level of this game is going to be inside the house. We want to actually go in and play with that. So let's go ahead and make one more transition to an additional level. So we're going to, if we come, instead of our third person start map, save all, we'll go back to our third person map because this is the one of our actual gameplay. If we come over and if we hit show collision, it's going to show us where the player is going to stop being able to go up against the house, right? So this is all blocked off. Player cannot enter or climb up the front stairs with this model. So to transition from this level to the next level, we're going to end up making kind of a portal transition here, making it clear that you're going to go to the next level. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our blueprints folder, and we're going to do like we've done before. We'll right click, we'll do a blueprint class, we're going to do an actor, and we'll call this BP underscore maze level exit. And then we can double click on that. Just so that we can kind of see what we're doing, I'm going to go ahead and start by just adding into it a mesh, static mesh. For the static mesh, if you come over to your details, we're going to set this up as shape plane somewhere. Like, there we go. So start typing shape. You can then get on plane. We're going to scale this to 1, 3, 1. To this, we're going to go ahead and add we can start typing collision. And we want a box collision. We don't want the little tiny thing, but that's okay for the moment. This is what's going to be triggering whether or not the player is overlapping with this. So this isn't going to be blocking the player off. This is going to allow the player to reach it. But at the moment the player overlaps with the box collider, then something's going to happen. So what we'll do with this, we'll set the scale, because that's kind of tiny. We'll set the scale to 1.5, 1.5, and 3. And then we'll move it up so that it is above that. So the plane that we put in there is going to think of that as the floor or the grass of the lawn. So obviously we want to trigger when it's above that. With box selected, we'll scroll down and we're going to choose the event on component begin overlap. So the moment the player begins the overlap, that's when we're going to trigger this. There are a lot of other options, but that's when we're going to go with. That automatically brings us to our event graph. We have lots of options here. We're going to drag off from other actor like we've done before. We're going to do equal. Just start typing in some oops, you're not going to be context sensitive. There we go. We want the string version of, so you can turn off context sensitive if it's not showing up for you. Type in 3 equals, and you want the equals exactly string. So this is going to get the name of whatever it is that touched it. So just in case something else is in your environment that could potentially touch this, we only want it to trigger when the player does. So we're going to, with that, sadly type in BP underscore third person character 0. This is, go back to the third person map. So when we actually hit play, this is the name of our character when it comes in. So that's what we're referencing.
Do you think third person character star would work?
Not sure.
Like if we did have one.
I don't know. Give it a try. If your computer starts smoking, I'll say it was a bad idea. Yeah, because string would be looking for that. Yeah.
True.
All right, we haven't done it in a while, but let's go ahead and from here, we're going to put in a branch so you can just drag off, hit B. Thank you again, Trenton, for that. So we've got here, we're going to attach our condition. So if it actually equals that, if it is the third person character that actually is collided with this, that's what we care about. So we'll drag off of true. We'll do open level by name. We'll leave this for the moment because, right? So if we leave it as none, it's going to just restart the level again, which that's not what we want. So if we go back to our third person map and we go to our third person maps folder, we can just once again duplicate our third person map. Oops, not that. Duplicate you. Why are you not duplicating?
Control key.
That's what we're going to have to do. It is just copy paste. And then we're going to rename this one to, I'm going to do TPM underscore, oops. Rename TPM third person map underscore level 2. So I'll copy that, go to our BP maze level exit, and paste that into our open level. And then we can compile and save. All right. So currently, if we do this, so to save yourself some testing time, let's go ahead and come here. I'm just going to pull this wall back for the moment. Can easily reset this. We're going to want to add in from our blueprints folder, we're going to add our BP maze level exit to in front of the steps. That should work okay. We'll raise this up just a little bit so it stops freaking out. Okay, so technically this could work, right? So if we went ahead and played, we'll save it for fun. If we play this, now we can come. I haven't figured out which is the exact shortest route, but we'll go this way. Come through. And now when we collide with it, hey, look, neat, yay. It looks like I'm in the same spot, but we're actually in level 2. Because level 2 looks exactly like the first level. Amazingly crazy. All right, we'll get to that in just a minute. But in the meantime, I mean, that was kind of cool, but I don't know, we can make it cooler. So if we come back into our maze level exit and go to our viewport, we can end up adding, so if you click on add, and start typing cascade. You can add a cascade particle system component. The particle system allows us to bring in off of particles template. For this, we'll go ahead and just bring in the steamlit. Kind of cool. We can scale it up to 222, give it a little bit more volume. We can add another particle system. Oops. Cascade particle system. We can add this one and make it the sparks. You can play around with it. I'm going to set its scale to 0.1, 2, and 2, and then raise it up to 75. If we compile save, we come back to our map. Now we have something, I don't know. Maybe it's not the look you're going for, but at least makes it clear that something's here, something I might want to go and explore. If we actually play it, ooh, will this handle it? Let's find out. No guarantees that it will actually handle it. And then we'll just kind of interesting. And we hit it again. Cool, neat, yay. From here, you could turn off your static mesh if you just wanted that to go away. You could end up setting the material to the grass again. Grass tile. Save it. At least blends it in. And now we have a way to go there. Okay, last thing, and then I'm going to give you all a break. Let's go ahead and in our maps, let's open up the TMP or TPM level 2. We'll save the selecteds, that's fine. On your perspective, change it to, it doesn't matter, we'll just choose right. Right gives us just a wireframe. We're going to drag and select hopefully everything but the sky sphere. We want to select all the walls, the house. Then we can hit delete. That should get rid of most of everything. We can go back to our perspective. Delete the last couple remaining pieces. I can do it. Delete. Delete. We can save it. So now if we did come into this world, now it's something different. Okay, so after break, so I'm going to give you all a little break, take about 10 minutes. The rest of class, go ahead and start making the inside of the house. Whatever that's going to look like for you. This is going to count as one piece of your modifying and personalizing this project. You had 10 to do as the final assignment for this. So go ahead and make the inside of the house. It needs to have, you need to enter on what would be considered the main floor, and then you need to have access to a second floor from there, because that matches the farmhouse. And that's what you're going to work on for the rest of the class. Perfectly, once again, good with you going and grabbing and finding models. Play with them a little bit, explore.
Any questions before I let you quote go? Perfect. Or, yeah.
Is it just like a house or is it designed?
So the inside of the house is level 2. So we're playing for the game that we're making, we're going to go through the maze and then enter that. That's going to be level 1. Level 2 will then take us inside the house where we'll do some other stuff. So that's why for this, rather than dictating, and we spend a whole bunch of time making walls in class, following the wall setups that I have, I figured it'd be more fun for y'all to get a little creative and start making the inside out. Any other questions? Perfect. Go ahead and take about a 10-minute break. For those, when you get back from break, for those of you that I didn't see your current build, let me know so I can come and give you credit for that check-in today. And then, yeah, have fun having fun and playing.
All right. Question.
One of the new these blocks aren't working.
Okay.
And I don't really know what to do. I have all the tags named right.
All the tags are right.
And because this is blueprints, I can't just throw like, a debug somewhere.
We can actually,
Oh,
kind of. Let me tie my shoe real quick. So go to.
with just a block
The-
into the add everywhere to figure out what's not.
We're just gonna add a node.
Well, I have to go pick up my car from the dealership, and I just have one that. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No cartridge. You have to buy me gas. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the blueprint of the
Sorry,
block
I
that's
think
trusted,
not.
right?
Well,
Yep, and so then, where it should be colliding where you're checking the collision, right? Yep. So what you're gonna want to do is you're
I was talking to these two of this part. I've got to go to my house and see yours.
yeah, we want to add a quick one. So I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, I would add it. I would add it to your tree, between your true and that. Because it has to come off of the next. So yeah, so off of true, just add. Prints. You can either drag it what it's hitting, or you can drag, or just have it. Figure out what's true. Yeah, so that's gonna like start, and then you always have clear your true, so where it is. Yes. Shoot, perfect.
Oh, I can set this. I mean, that is a really good reason to leave class, but I don't know if I like it.